guys, it is day 6 of the Sweet Spring Read series. Today we're going to be talking about books that I think you should read on a rainy day that would be perfect for a rainy day, and we're specifically talking about creepy books that include stalkers in them. So if that sounds like fun for you, keep on watching. You can't talk about books about stalkers without discussing You by Carolyn Kepnes. In You, you are reading from the perspective of the stalker, which is such a fun little twist. We meet Joe, who owns this bookstore, and he sees this girl who comes in and he becomes obsessed with her, and he follows her to her apartment. And he tries to squeeze his way into her life. And it's incredibly unsettling because you're reading it from that vantage point, and yet at the same time, you're also kind of rooting for him sometimes. And you know that it's wrong, you know that he's this like psychopath basically, and yet you can't help yourself. So I really had such a fun time reading this book. It's a wild ride. I'd also recommend I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. Now, this was my favorite thriller of 2017 that I read in 2017. I just loved it. In this book, you're following a girl who is on a road trip with her boyfriend. She's on the way to go and meet his family for the first time, so she should be really excited, and yet she's thinking of ending things. It's not working out really for her, and she thinks she's gonna end the whole relationship. In the meanwhile, she is receiving these phone calls on her cell, and they're leaving these creepy, very disturbing messages on her cell phone, and she's not telling her boyfriend about them, but she's trying to avoid these phone calls, and you kind of dive into what's going on. This is the kind of book that will blindside you. You'll think that you're reading one kind of story and then realize as it goes on that you're reading an entirely different kind of story. And I just was blown away by I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Next up is Her Every Fear by Peter Swanson. This is a really great book. I read this at the beginning of the year, and it was my first Peter Swanson, and it will not be my last. In this book, we're following this young woman who has had a really horrible altercation with her boyfriend, now her ex. She decides that she's going to move from London to Boston. Her second cousin lives in Boston, and they decide that they're going to do this apartment swap. So she moves to Boston, he moves to London, and as soon as she arrives in Boston, her now next door neighbor is found murdered. And she, of course, is obsessed with this. She needs to know what's happening. And in this book, there are multiple layers of stalking. Oh my goodness. This is a book that has so many twists and turns. It's kind of unbelievable. I was surprised the whole way through, and I loved it. Now, this last book I have not read, but it's on my TBR. It has been on my TBR for a long time, and that's The Book of You by Claire Kendall. In this book, we're following this young woman who's being stalked. She has I believe it's a coworker who won't leave her alone. She's actually on jury duty and finds relief walking into the courtroom knowing that she's going to have some time to herself, because when she gets out, he's going to be there waiting for her. He's there at work, he's there at her home, he's always there. And I want to know how she gets out of that situation. So those are all of the books that are stalker related that I think would be perfect for a rainy, kind of cool day in the spring. Do you guys have any recommendations for stalker-esque books? Because I love that subgenre in the thriller genre. It's just fantastic to me. So let me know. Now, tomorrow is the last day of the Sweet Spring Read series, and we're diving into books set in garden settings. I'll see you then. Bye, guys.